Hi, my name is Dave Wang, and I'm on faculty at Fuller Theological Seminary. And I am a clinical psychologist, I'm a professor, and I'm a pastor of spiritual formation at a local congregation here in Southern California. And as part of my work and research, I do research on trauma among clergy. And one of the recent studies that we published looked at the prevalence rates of childhood trauma among clergy and compared that with the general population. And we found that on average, clergy have higher rates of trauma than the general population. The World Health Organization estimates that the general population already experiences trauma at a rate of about 70% of the world population. So clergy have experienced trauma at a higher clip than even that. But it's not just that. It's a specific kind of trauma that clergy have experienced over and above the general population. The kind of trauma that clergy have experienced is childhood relational trauma. And what we're talking about here is trauma that doesn't have a clear start point and a clear end point. It's pervasive, oftentimes throughout one's childhood, and it's trauma involving people that they know. Not just people that they know, but trauma involving people that they're supposed to trust and depend on. So it's usually family members. So again, the research that we have found is that on average, clergy members have experienced higher levels of childhood relational trauma compared to the general population. Now, what does that look like in real life? As a practicing licensed clinical psychologist, one of the patterns, for example, that I often see in my private practice is I see pastors who, as children, were the emotional adult of their family. They're the ones that had to step up and keep the family together, even though biologically they were children. And one of the potential consequences of this, there's certainly beauty as well as brokenness in a situation like this. But on the side of brokenness, one of the potential challenges here is that these individuals have never learned healthy or proper boundaries. They have learned growing up that in order to survive, they had to take responsibility not only for their own emotional life, but they also had to take responsibility for the emotional lives of other people in their family, people who are older than them, people who are supposed to take care of them. Now, if you take this individual who's strong, who's empathetic, who loves other people, and who also is used to carrying their own stuff and everyone else's stuff, and you place them into a church family system, what can you imagine might happen, right? So I share this story to give us a little bit more of a context, to give us an opportunity to go upstream into some of these other statistics that many of us may already know about concerning clergy and burnout and clergy well-being. And as in my role here at Fuller Theological Seminary as the Penner Chair for the formation of emotionally healthy leaders, part of my honor and responsibility at the seminary is to think deeply, and to think about what theological education must be if we were to take seriously the holistic formation of Christian leaders, not just their intellectual formation, not just their spiritual formation, but also their emotional formation. And as research like the study that I just mentioned earlier illuminates, if we were to take seriously the emotional formation of Christian leaders, if we were to go upstream into the source and the roots of the emotional formation of Christian leaders, we can't avoid the topic of trauma.